Okay, so Southampton become the first club relegated from the Premier League. This was this was expected, for the last month and a half, 2 months. They've been looking dreadful since they sacked Ralph Husenhartel, I think. And now Ralph Husenhartel had been there for a while, and he had done, I think a decent job. I think he'd earned that contract extension that he signed, but this season had just been dreadful, absolutely dreadful. And it didn't help. After sacking Husenhartel, they bring in Nathan Jones was, to me, one of the worst decisions that could have been made. And their form just fell off a cliff. What was I think the low point? They've had some high points this season. They've beaten some of the top teams right at the top of the division. So it's not as if they can't win games. But what was the lowest point was the defeat to Wolves, who played around 65 minutes with 10 men on the field. They lost a match against 10 men, who played most of the game with 10 men. Uh, I mean, and their goal difference. Defensively, hopeless, disorganised. Now, Ruben Selles is the third permanent manager this season. I would not be surprised if there's a massive exodus of players in the summer. I think Ward Prowse will be highly sought after by a lot of Premier League clubs. And if Ward Prowse wants to continue his England career, I think he will most likely move on. He's been in and around, the England squad. And a lot of people think he should have gone to the World Cup. A lot of people think he should have been selected for the Euros as well. So if Ward Prowse wants to get back in the England side, I think Ward Prowse, who's the club captain, probably leaves. And I think a whole host of other players will leave. But the issue is they had a slow start to the season, fired the long-term manager in Husenhartel, made a ridiculous decision hiring Nathan Jones. That didn't last very long. One of the shortest managerial tenures in the Premier League, and then Ruben Selles, while his reign got off to a start which was good, but with a 1-0 win, they haven't really had that response. And I always say this: clubs that regularly chop and change manager generally are very successful. So Fulham have beaten at home 2-0, which is enough to relegate Southampton with games remaining. This hasn't gone down to the last weekend of the season. This is with games to spare, Southampton have been relegated, and it sort of sums Southampton up. They can beat the top sides in the top. I think they've beaten all of the top five. I think at some point this season. Yet they've had some dreadful defeats, and their defence has been shocking. They look disorganised, and they look, there's a lack of passion there. So, can Southampton bounce back at the first attempt? It may not happen, because this is a club that appears to me lacking direction. So there we go. Southampton relegated from the Premier League. Who will join them at the end of the season? Place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.